Yeah.
Yay!
Blessings, everyone.
How's
How's
it
it going?
going?
Amazing. Amazing. Great to see you all together.
You as well, Jerome. We had a nice class. Everybody was participating.
Hmm.
Yay!
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. You know that I know for Pete and for Chantel that wasn't your first time, but Sierra and PJ, that wasn't your first time either, was it?
It was the first full class. It was the first full class, yeah.
I've done it a couple times.
She's done it a couple times.
Yeah.
A couple times you joined us?
Yeah.
I
Awesome.
think three. I think three total for Sierra. And I'm pretty sure PJ had one full class on Mother's Day. Did you join me?
I might have.
Okay.
I might have.
Okay. So we can go around the room, you know, if you'd like to introduce yourselves and maybe even say one thing that you enjoyed from today's class that you just so graciously, you know, participated and shared your energy with us. You could just, you know, say your name and one thing that you particularly enjoyed about the class.
Well, I'll start. My name is Peter Scott Sr., Pete, Big Pete. And I truly enjoy the Qigong classes with Jerome because one of the things I do like are the stillness. You know, it really teaches me to be able to hold a position while still breathing, because I'm in my mind, I'm still moving. Energetically, it feels like I'm still moving with the air, breathe. But my body, I'm able to actually, control it and allow it to just become one with the earth, with my feet, ground to the ground, and then my hands in the air. It feels like I'm holding on to clouds or holding on to something, much higher than myself. So that's what I enjoy about the Qigong.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you.
And I'm Chantel Scott, also known as Coach Electric, and I'm in love with Qigong with Jerome. It used to be Jerome in the house, and then we Jerome outside. We always go, and I love it. It forces me every day to put my feet in the earth, and I'm reminded of all the energy that Mother Nature and Mother Earth just offers us in abundance. And so, again, I always have to say I do the BioWell scan, and I have not had less than a 50 reading since I've been doing Qigong with Jerome.
Wow. Awesome. Amazing. Thank you. Thank you for that testimony. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sierra. I really enjoy just being present. I feel like I also am moving constantly throughout the day. So Qigong with Jerome really allows me to just be present, be grateful, and also just the actions of giving thanks as we go along. Doing the Qigong is really helpful as well. Just envisioning, placing my loved ones, placing all sentient beings, and that ball that we made. And most times, so yes, I do enjoy that. So yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Thank you, Sierra.
Yep, and I'm Peter Scott Jr., Little Pete, I guess. And one thing that I enjoyed today in class was, again, just to kind of piggyback on what he said, I'm doing a lot of ripping and running throughout my day. So to actually just be at peace and actually just breathe in and basically feeling the oxygen moving around my body and just stretching, because I'm not really a flexible person, but I know I need to get better at that. And I can kind of feel that when it comes to yoga and being, one with, it feels like you're one with the air when you're out there just holding the position and then, releasing and bringing it back. So I think that's it's a step in the right direction for me, bringing back instead of pushing, because I do like with my businesses, I'm always helping a lot of other people, so I don't find a lot of time for my own self-care, and I feel like that's one thing that kind of opened my eyes when doing your class. So yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. And how have you worked with that challenge, Brother PJ, with entrepreneurship, your business, being an investor, being a mentor, and just finding the balance of, working on your own personal development, your own self-growth. How have you found that balance?
So the main thing that I do now is taking the time to, at the end of the day, I probably need to start doing it at the beginning as well. But at the end of the day, I like to go out on my balcony because I live probably like 450 feet up in the air downtown. So I like to go out, look at the sunrise, look at the sunset. So in the morning and the night, I look at the sunset and I'm taking deep breaths, and I kind of find a balance of being at a state of consciousness and a state of subconscious, like right in that alpha state where I'm able to just be me and my breath for at least 2-3 minutes. And when I do that, I feel like I'm reset and I'm re-energized to go back and, finish the task at hand or get a good night's sleep. So that's really the main thing that I do consistently, but I know I need to bring, more things to that, but that's what I do consistently. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And that's actually a really good question, a really good point that you make there, Pete, because, I think your mother was telling me that you, like you said, you live on the like 33rd floor. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. I live on
So,
33rd.
so do those practices help you stay grounded even when you're at such a high altitude?
Yeah, I think without actually taking a deep breath and sitting still, then I don't think I would ever really rest. I think it's definitely needed, especially with where I live, but also with what I do on a daily basis. So, I mean, I'm pretty repetitive with my life. So, yeah, if I don't just sit down, if I don't just take a deep breath and inhale, exhale, think about my gratitudes, then I can get overwhelmed easily for sure. So,
Okay, awesome. Thank you for sharing. You
sure.
know, Sister Sierra, when it comes to repetition, PJ was saying that he's pretty repetitive with his lifestyle and with, the methods and modalities that he has for himself and has cultivated. With you, Sierra, what do you feel like is repetitive in your life? Like what are a few non-negotiables that you have for yourself?
I definitely would say meditation because I tend to think a lot. So I have to at least devote some time to myself to actually sit with the thoughts, with the emotions. Even if that's 10 minutes a day, it can go up to an hour a day. Like it just depends on how much I feel like it's needed at that time. But yeah, I think meditation, just introspection, because I'm very to myself, but I also, when doing things, I tend to I guess, like I said, I'm in my head a lot, so I try to do a lot of introspection, a lot of retrospect. So introspection, yeah. So yeah, I would say that's a non. Yeah, that was
Self-reflection.
Yeah. So non-negotiable for me is definitely sitting with myself and like I said, being present. Like I enjoy things that are allow me to just be. So.
Yeah, just be, like we're always in the system of the hustle and bustle, the do, but when do we take time to just be, to just be and just be free in that way? I love that you have that introspective perspective, within the collective. Like we need that objective, we need that directive for sure, you know? And, your mother, Sierra Chantel, she told us last time that grounding has really helped her in life when it comes to like earthing, putting her bare feet on the ground. Has she passed that on to you, or did you already kind of know that intuitively at an early age?
She definitely passed it down through the grounding shoes definitely helps, especially with being inside a lot when working. But I also, after work, I usually go, for a walk or just some type of physical activity. And then I found a spot quite recently, actually, and that's where I tend to do like my breathing exercises and yoga and some type of meditation. So she definitely passed that down to me, and I've learned a little bit more later on in life. Because I am an earth sign, so technically, I guess I've been grounded quite my whole life. But yeah, definitely passed it down to me now. So. Yeah.
Okay. And I feel very resonant with you. I'm an introvert myself. Some people can think that I'm very extroverted, that I can be very outgoing and outspoken, and I can be, but I keep to myself most days. I'm very in my solace, in my solitude, and in my silence, just getting away from all the noise for sure. I spend a lot of time alone, a lot of time thinking, a lot of time in my mind for sure. So I definitely resonate with you, Sierra, when you're talking about that. And with your physical activity, I heard that you and PJ are in a run club. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday, yeah.
Every Wednesday, yeah.
Okay.
So
So
we're
how
trying.
how has that been maintained? How has that benefited you to be in a run club, like with a community, you know, coming together in that way? How has that kind of boosted you and really encouraged your growth in that area?
I think the first time actually going out there was an eye opener, just because you don't really see 400 people who look like you just out to go and exercise on a weekly basis. So I think the first time actually seeing that it was very interesting to see that. So I think that was the main thing that made me want to keep coming back. But then on the physical side, I think if I'm not moving my body, if I'm not physically active, my blood's not pumping,
Hmm.
my mental is a little. I wouldn't say it's not as clear as it should be. So
Hmm.
if I'm physically active, I can see that producing all my everything else that I got going on in my life. So I think it usually start with me, because I've been an athlete all up through high school, into college. So when it came to graduating, I had to find something to shift that, not having practice every day after school, but something to where I'm an adult. I don't have to, go to practice anymore. So I have to find something to actually where I'm moving my body and still getting that same mental clarity I had growing up. So,
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and for me, kind of piggybacking off of what he said about being an athlete, I
yeah, she's really an
I-
athlete. I just say I'm an athlete.
But definitely that transition from college, like collegiate level, athletics to, just working and just doing normal stuff around 9 to 5, and it's really nice to be, surrounded by people that also, like he said, just have the same goal of just becoming better and staying active. And I really do like the community aspect of it, because, like, I do say to myself, so this is like kind of a way for me to be in community and also, contribute with my support with the program and stuff like that. So it's really nice overall.
Right. I love that. You know, like they say, the rising tide lifts all ships. You know, it lifts all the boats with the rising tide. Like, you know, the community together. They say if you want to go fast, you can go alone. But if you want to go far, you know, you should go together. You should go together. So, wow. You know, when it comes to physical activity, you know, Big Pete, shout out to Big Pete, has, you know, this amount of physical activity always been a staple in your life as well? Or has this part of your life been more physical than the first chapter? Like, can you walk us through what these methods and modalities have brought to you, and where they kind of started and originated for you in your life?
Sure, sure. Yeah, growing up, I was very athletic. I was into sports. That was my introduction to being physically fit, and so playing sports all throughout my youth, and then into my young adulthood, I just stayed active. Whether it be playing organized sports again, or whether it be just exercising with my wife Chantel, because we met very young. We're actually. As they say, high school sweethearts. Like she, oh, sorry. Now and so already having a kind of a family at a younger age, it did shift my focus more to the unit being more physically fit as opposed to just myself, going out, and exercising on my own. But just to kind of give you a timeline, yes, I was really, really active young, and then into my adulthood, became another focus because, of course, work. You get into the 9 to 5 grind and
Right.
trying to support the family, and then you have to also find a way to still stay active. And
Right.
and so with my wife, we were able to build that into our family structure. So we became coaches. I coached my son, like he said, he's been playing sports, some kind of athletic event since he was 2 years old. Okay, so he's been active and watching us active, and so it did shift to the family, to as far as the physical activity. Now, being more mature in how I view things, when I was younger, it was more of just do physical activity. Now, with the modalities that I've learned in the next, as you say, the next chapter, it's more of the connection of spirit, mind, and body. I'm now seeing the connection of how all three of these essences of myself need to be fit. The physical fit was my, foundation, but now it's more into the mental and the spiritual fitness that I have. And so these modalities of Qigong, of yoga, of just meditation, deep breathing. All those things come together, and that's kind of grounding is really big. Grounding and just understanding how the elements, ether, air, sun, water, and earth, how they all together form the true you, the wholeness of you. And so understanding those things has really elevated my thinking. And so these new modalities and this new in the next chapter, as we say, has really been my catalyst for my fitness. So being Coach Abundance, which is what my name is in our family, in our family business, Coach Abundance. It starts with ether, air, sun, water, and earth. That's what we really talk about with abundance. So that's why my second chapter, or this chapter of my life, has been as fit, if not more fit, than it was from the beginning chapter.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. Well said, well said. And just, thank you for just eloquently, illustrating that and just putting, all the meanings on these things that people hear, a lot nowadays, but don't readily understand at a deep, deep level that you really understand, as you go through and as you grow through these cycles, these situations. And, just even that word abundance and prosperity, so many people, they talk about what is wealth, what is money, what is currency, what is the flow, what is abundance, and what is prosperity, like what is opulence. And, when you talk about ether and air and water and sun and earth, and, you look around you and you see nature is so abundant, is so abundant for sure. So we have examples of abundance everywhere we look. If we walk outside, we can see there is no lack, there is no scarcity. It's all abundance. So it's definitely showing us who we are and what we are. And I love that you have that mentality, and I love that it shapes the reality. So thank you. Yeah. Wow. Wow. So, Pete, with you and Chantel, you said that you were high school sweethearts. How did you meet? Like how did you come together? What was the initial attraction that drew you together? And what is the rock like that keeps you together? What's the glue that keeps you together all these years?
Well, from my perspective, we all have perspectives. From my perspective, we actually met at an event. It was a church youth group event.
Okay.
And it's so funny because we both had other ideas of what we wanted to do with our day. This is before we ever met. Like for me, I was a senior going off to college. Okay. It was my senior summer. And so I hadn't yet done any youth group activities, physically being present, participating. And my mother, she held me to the fact that I told her I would before I went off to college. So I decided that, she helped me decide, my mother, that this was going to be the event I go to because I only had, a little while before I went off to college. So I decided I had to go to this church event. Flip side, I see this young lady, this young girl there.
Who didn't want to be there.
Her story, she's going to tell her story, her perspective. But she evidently didn't want to be at that event either because she had other ideas of what she wanted to do with her time. But her mom wanted her to go and support her sister. So the initial contact was that I, noticed her sitting there on the steps of the church, and I used a friend of mine to approach her. It's so funny. I guess I can tell the story. I said to her, "Excuse me, my friend here, he likes you. He really likes you." And she, she kind of smiled because I didn't know that she already knew who he was. I had no idea, so I was really, playing myself, as they say. But she just kind of smiled and didn't really say anything. And then he goes, "No, I don't. No, I didn't say that." He goes, "No, he likes you." Points to me. Well, I just kind of looked over at her, and she just started smiling even bigger. So then I kind of pushed him out of the way, and I took a step towards, and then from there we just start talking, and we haven't stopped from there. That's literally how we met, and so from there we talked and just started courting and all those different things.
6 years later.
Yeah, I was gonna say 5.5 years later. And then what the glue, just to kind of finish the whole thing. Once we developed a family, first starting with PJ and then with Sierra, the glue to me, from my perspective, was that unit, that tie, that complete wholeness of a family. I've always had a visual of what a family looks like when I was younger.
Shout out to Bill Cosby.
Shout out to the Huxtables. And also family members. We have family members that we looked up to. But I saw the completeness of that family. You know, mother, father, son, daughter, and that to me was the epitome of what I considered a complete and whole family. So that's one of the things. And I always wanted to make sure the family that I became and grew into and nourished was going to be okay. I wanted to make sure I was a catalyst to have that family okay, because, you know, growing up, just to kind of give you a flashback, I didn't have that. I didn't grow up in that complete family unit, you know, that essence. So it was really pertinent to me to make sure I had that for the family that I created, that I was a part of, you know, bringing together. So that was to me the glue, on top of the fact that, you know, I was married to a beautiful woman and had wonderful children. It was really that tie of wanting to make sure that my family grew, the family that I was in charge, head of, grew and became as abundant and as you know, as they could be. So
Right.
that's really kind of how what's guided me throughout my years here.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. You know, I love just the feeling and the theme of completeness and wholeness, you know, just bringing the members together, like helping us remember like what it looks like, you know, because I didn't have, you know, just full disclosure for me, I didn't have an example growing up, you know, of what that looks like. You know, my parents were, you know, well, they divorced for the second time when I was 6 years old, and then I saw many marriages and divorces after that, like pretty, you know, a few of them after that. So I never really saw like a complete household, and you know, being an only child, it kind of was very, very tough and very challenging to not see an example of that in my immediate family, and really wonder if I could have that, you know, dynamic. So I love to see it, you know, it just, I love to witness it in other families. And you have a beautiful family, you know, Chantel, when you've heard of these words, where people throw around these words today, like soulmates and twin flames, you know, how would you describe the bond that you have with Peter? You know, what would you use to describe the bond that you both have?
It's interesting that you asked me that, because I have a cousin that asked me, "How do you know? How do you know you found your soulmate? How do you know if you found the twin flame?" And for the longest, I wondered, because I'm like, we always had a lot of conflicts, you know, younger. Because again, we've been together since I was 16, he was 17. Because he talked about him going off to college, but he went off early, just as I went off early. We both went to college fairly early, and so when you think about that, how we would really bump heads a lot, I was like, how is it that we are so in sync? Like, it doesn't make any sense. You know, not until probably less than about 5 years ago that I realized our numbers are literally the same. Like, I was born 12/11/74. He was born 1/22/74. So if you do a life path, if you do a number, a purpose number, any number you do, it's always the same. And I'm like, ah! It was driving me crazy. I'm like, how is this? Like, I would keep going over the numbers, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. But then it finally dawned on me, your numbers are identical. They're identical. So it's like, wow. So if you're into numerology or anything like that, which now I am, because I want to know, is like, you know, so whatever reasons, my ancestors was like, you need him, and his ancestors were like, he needs you. Because when I went to that same function that I did not want to go to, I'm talking about even when I got there, I was begging my mother. I was like, the Broadway bus is right here. I can get on the bus right here and go back, because I wanted to go skating with my cousin. And my mother was like, no, you're going to stay and you're going to support your sister. So I was fortunate enough to have my mother and my father in the home. And I was the oldest of two other siblings, a boy and a girl. So we had that family unit. Now, it still was a lot of struggle. You know, we're still in the hood. We're still, but my dad is, I've seen that provision. I've seen that provider. I've seen the one that works hard, even if he couldn't bring everything he wanted. If that nice little short 411 air sign got too upset, he would go figure it out and bring it back. Your daughter, it's her birthday and you didn't bring it. And he comes back with 2 coconut cakes, and So I've seen that masculine energy. So I did know what to look for. So when I saw this number 4, which my daddy was a 4, I think intuitively, it just happened that way. So would I have described it as a soulmate? Yes. Would I have described it as a twin flame? No. But now I have no choice. The numbers don't lie.
The numbers don't lie. Awesome. So it's numerical, it's just like it feels very aligned, in alignment, So it's like you know the assignment when it's in alignment. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Wow, I'd love to hear as well from Pete, Big Pete. There was a story that Chantel shared with us, and I'd love to hear your version of the story of how through your healing journey, through even the detox journey, that there was a moment for some reason that you needed to get in shape, and Chantel helped you in a scenario where when I guess PJ was somewhere else, maybe in Florida, and he came back and saw that you were in shape, like you had just a washboard abs and like you were just a completely changed man. Can you talk about that process and the procedure that you went through and your progression and how Chantel assisted you through that?
Yes. I remember to initiate it, her sister had introduced someone called Dr. Sabi.
Okay.
Like we had never heard of him. And said, there's a guy that reminds me of you. And we were like, okay. And so we started watching videos. And I'll tell you what, while we started at the beginning of the day, and I think we looked it was a whole day.
It was 3 days.
And I mean, just to see what they were going through. And there was a particular person, Brother Polite, that had a story. Mm-hmm. And the story was about, relieving himself of parasites to cleanse his body and things like that. Now, I've never had in my mind an issue that I was sick or, I've always been in shape. I've always felt physically fit. But listening to what they actually considered being physically fit changed my thought process. I was like, So then as I kept saying, I was thinking to myself, you mean that's just regular food that gives you? Oh, no, I'm done. In my mind, I just shut off that there's nothing I can eat right now until I know what I can eat. So I'm just not eating anything. And I literally did not eat anything for, I want to say, it had to be at least 2 days. And was it 3 days? Yeah, I just couldn't bring myself to really eat something that I wasn't sure wasn't giving me what Brother Polite said was, in the foods, in your body and things like that. And then from that particular situation, my wife and I, we decided to do more when it comes to what Dr. Sabi prescribed. And so we went on a 63-day cleanse, detox. Okay. And from that is where the story, I guess she's kind of shared with you about my body reshaping. I always thought I was already in shape and, but the before picture and after picture of me, I still was able to lose or lose inflammation. I still was inflamed in places I didn't even know, like my shoulders, like just, my neck, my head, just different places that I didn't think I was inflamed or didn't think there was any issue. And of course, my stomach. I've always had a round stomach. I have no idea where, it must be genetics or whatever. But I've always been thin, but I had this round stomach. And I've always wanted to have that washboard like I see on TV, the athletes. And so I realized setups and push-ups and all that stuff didn't really do it for me. It wasn't until I went through that 63-day detox. And it didn't even take 63 days, Jerome. It took probably a week and a half to totally do it. So like after maybe the first 3 or 4 days, I noticed there was a change in the shape of my abdomen, where the top part had like these little ridges, but the bottom part was still round. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm distorted. My body's and I called my wife in, and I was like, Sean, look, what's going on? She was like, well, wait a minute, just think for a second. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Those are the abs that I've been wanting.
That you've been looking for.
It's just the bottom part the whole thing hadn't happened. No more than 3 or 4 days later, the whole thing was, I had an eight pack. And I was in the mirror, okay, all the time.
Every moment of the day.
And I told my wife, I said, I cannot wait to show my son. Because he was he had a washboard, he had his 6-pack, he's college age, he's been playing basketball, he's in shape, and I just could not get my body to get that way. I said, oh, I'm going to show him. And so we went down there, and I remember we were on the elevator going up to his dorm room. Mm-hmm. And we were talking. I said, hey, PJ. He goes, yeah. I said,
oh, you were telling me, yeah. But you didn't show him until we got to his
door. No, we're in the elevator talking.
Right.
And I was telling him, yeah, PJ, that detox, me and your mom did, man. I said, it's really done some things. He was like, oh, okay. And then as the elevator door opened, and we stepped into the hallway, I raised my shirt up, and he goes, oh my God! Oh, he's like running down the hallway to his door. He runs like, oh my God! Look at you! Oh my God! So that was a big moment for me because he has always been his 6-pack. He's walking around the house no shirt on, and showing all his and I finally could show him, son. Here you go. Your dad can do it too. And so that was a real connected moment for us because at that point now we're like.
Now they stay in the gym.
It's kind of like a competition. Oh, wait a minute, old man, you get a little gut up. I'm like, oh no. I can do this. So it's really been inspiring individually for myself, and also I can see how he kind of got inspired because he ran and told his roommate. I mean, like he was like, hey, my dad did this, and his roommate. They got parents around our age, and by then their parents have dad bods or have just whatever. And so it was something for his roommate to say, my gosh, your dad really transformed his body and, this, that, and the other. So, and I think, and even my daughter, I think I kind of influenced her.
Oh, that's why she did it.
Yeah. So she knew, because my daughter, I used to be the hero to my daughter. I mean, she used to come home, jump on my back. Yeah, daddy's home. And so I want to let her know, yeah, daddy still has it. And so, but she actually, inspired me too, as far as physically fit and stuff like that too. So, it's really a circular, thing when it comes to
everybody bounces off
to being physically fit. But that was my story about really shaping, first of all, doing it through not because, and I say this to people a lot, not that I started eating the way that we eat because of animals per se, not eating animals anymore. Now I've grown into that connection of life is life, and life should have its own domain, and sentient beings should be able to live and survive just like everyone else. Mm-hmm. But first, it was just a matter of knowing I could be better. Right. Like, personally, I could do better. Right. I'm eating things that are not helping me, so I know I could do better. And then it kind of transitioned to just respecting life in general, respecting all life. So that's kind of my journey. The detox and becoming physically fit through eating the right foods. Yeah. So that's kind of what my journey there.
Beautiful. Thank you, Pete. I love that story. I just love those moments, that you shared, and just, the epiphanies and the realization and just the recognition of the awareness of, what we're putting in our bodies, like what we're consuming on the daily, and just to have that consciousness, to just glean the information and the knowledge and the experience from, Brother Polite and Dr. Sebi and just all these people who have paved the way for people like you and I, on this path, on this journey. I think it's tremendous, the wealth of information that we have today, like never before. We really have the power in our hands. It's just the piece can really begin on the plate, and we can really change everything. When we change what we put in, we change what we get out. So, in that moment, Brother PJ, do you remember how you felt in that moment, and what did it do for your consciousness to see the transformation in your father? Like, what did that do for you to kind of reframe and retrain you as to know what was possible?
I think first of all, it was definitely it was a shock because like you said, I used to be the one who walks around with my shirt off, and you know, just walking up to him, just put my arm on his my muscle on his head, hey, just to make sure he knows I'm here. But nah, yeah, seeing that, I think it definitely shifted my mind frame, because once I realized that I looked how I looked eating the foods that I was eating, it showed me that there's something that I'm not even aware of, that if I was to, get rid of eating the meats and the animal product, the cheeses, things like that, that I would be able to go to another level as well. So that's when I didn't flip the switch all the way, but I told my mom I'd start to eat more conscious. And when I actually left college is when I decided to make the switch myself. So it might have took me another, couple of years to make the full switch over to, no meat, and then a little farther down the road, no cheese and no animal product. But yeah, at that moment, it definitely was a shift in my brain where it's like, I look the way I look by eating certain foods. So I just imagine if I did what he did, what I could do at my age, because he's, 22 years older than me. So yeah, so I think that was the main thing with me, was just, yeah, seeing that, happy for him, and then knowing that there's something out there more for me. So it was, yeah.
Okay. And eventually, PJ, when you did make the full transition, going off of, animal flesh, animal products, just anything that had to do with consuming animals, how did it do for not only physically, but what did it do for you mentally? What did it do for you emotionally? Like, what were some of the things that you felt started to release? And what were the things that started to increase in your life in a beneficial way?
Hmm. That's a good question. I think the first thing that comes to mind is definitely my energy level. So I was never a person like in the rising. I would never want to be the first one to wake up. The lights come on, I'm acting like I'm getting up. Parents leave, I'm gonna get back under the cover. Like that's how I was in the rising. But as I started to eat better, I noticed that I didn't have to use an alarm clock to wake up anymore. Like I don't think I use my alarm clock just in case if I have like long nights. But if I'm going to sleep, around 11, 10:30, then I don't have to use an alarm clock to wake up at 7:30 the next day. Nice. And I think that's a big part of it.
Okay, good.
So
Yep.
I think the biggest part of that is because I'm not eating decaying flesh at the end of my night, because that makes you not want to wake up. So
Right.
I think the main thing physically was my energy level. Mentally, I became a person. I've always been a person who wanted to learn more, but mentally, I think as I shifted the way I ate, I think now I'm always wanting to learn more. I think now if I'm not being productive, if I'm not learning something, then I feel like and it might be a good and a bad, pro and a con to it, but I feel like I have to be productive. I have to be doing something where like I'm adding to my bank, my vocabulary bank. I'm adding to my, investments. I have to be doing something. And I don't think I had that same energy level mentally when I was eating the foods that I was eating.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that was the main thing. And then spiritually, I feel like I draw a lot of better opportunities to myself the way I'm eating now, and the lifestyle that I have now. I feel like it's way easier for me to command what goes on in my life right now. Nice. So I think those are the three main things that I see.
Nice. Wow. So the manifestation levels are on high.
Oh yeah. If I see it, I want it, I execute it.
Yeah. Awesome. Sierra, I heard that, throughout high school you had a plant-based living or a plant-based lifestyle. Can you talk about, was there a big transition for you as well? Was it very challenging? Was there ever rebellion when it came to transitioning to a different diet? Like, how was that relationship to food for you?
I would say there was definitely a flip, and it was definitely after they did their 63 the 63-day fast. And so after seeing their results and seeing just like, when your parents all of a sudden have more energy than you do, you be like, okay, hold on. I'm the young one here. What's going on? But yeah, so, and also I played sports, so that was another tell sign that I seen the before and after. So when I did the 63-day fast right after that, because like I said, I saw them, I said, actually, I think I want to do it, because like they said they were watching Dr. Sebi videos. I was like, when I came home from school, I was sitting on the couch watching it with them, and then I would have to go to school while they're still watching it. But you know, I'm still kind of getting glimpses, so I might not see the full picture, but I'm seeing a little bit like, oh snap, what are you talking about? Then I'll come back. You know, and stuff like that. So after seeing them do their fast and seeing the results, you know, I said, you know what, let me try it out. And I think honestly, when I went into it, I feel like, did I say that I was going to do 63 days? Did I? Okay, because I don't know if I was just like, yeah, I might do a week or not. But I guess I said I was going to do 63. Maybe in my mind I was like, well, if this doesn't go well, I might just, you know. But great thing about it is that because they had already done it, they kind of created like meals and things that they found that was within the Dr. Sebi approved list, Alkaline list. So I was actually, you know, given kind of a blueprint, which thank you so much, because honestly, if I was to do it with them, because I believe when you guys first started, you guys just did salads.
Sometimes we had tomato and lettuce.
Yeah. So honestly, it probably would have been a little bit more difficult had I did it with them initially. But afterwards, you know, I was making, you know, chickpea hummus and just different stuff that I could like take to school as well. Like, because like I said, you know, going to school, it probably went even harder. You know, seeing everybody eating, you know, macaroni and cheese, and I'm over here eating tomatoes and cucumbers. So, but yeah, so definitely that was a big, the big switch. So after that 63-day fast, I don't think I went back to meat. I didn't crave meat anymore because I honestly, if you would have asked me, would you ever be able to give up meat before the fast, I would have been like, no. After the fast, I couldn't even look at meat the same. If I'm being So yeah, so I was vegetarian right after that.
Wow.
So after I would say sophomore year, junior year, senior year was when I really made the flip because I believe high school.
This is what I'm saying. I'm just make sure this is
high school. I believe my mom had already switched over Alkaline, and I started seeing her do like other things like raw and like doing other stuff like that, and I just became really inspired with that as well. So I just ended up, you know, just taking away the dairy and the animal products. So that was definitely the switch for me. It was definitely gradual after vegetarian to veganism and then Alkaline. But yeah, also just seeing the results in basketball or just whatever sport I was doing. Because I was doing volleyball, basketball, track. Definitely my energy level was at a 10. I was going faster than ever before. I was just like, I feel like the wind. I don't know like I was just going so fast. I was already a fast person, but like that was like the real flip.
Lighter.
The real switch. Yeah, and then also mental clarity. Also what PJ said about just waking up. Like I was not really a rising person as well until, you know, the lifestyle switch, and then I didn't really need an alarm clock unless, you know, late night or just needed extra rest because I was doing something strenuous, you know, the previous day. But yeah, so overall it was definitely a nice, you know, eye-opening experience. So
Yeah, absolutely, Sierra. Very illuminating, you know, very enlightening. You know, when you're lightening up, it's very enlightening. I love how you describe it and just all the scenarios of your high performance, you know, you being very athletic, you know, naturally you're doing volleyball, you're doing basketball, you're running track, and now, you know, it's just taking you to a whole nother level. You're just hitting the nitros, you know, like you're boosting beyond what you imagined that you could go before, you know, really just breaking through the barriers of your belief, you know, our belief systems that we have, especially around consumption. You know, there's a saying, people say it's all BS, you know, belief systems. And we all have a certain amount of BS that we have to break through in order to, you know, find something on the other side that we may not have known was available or attainable for us. You know, we usually, sometimes we look out and say, oh, that's for those type of people, that's for that type of person. I'm not that kind of person. But when you said, Sierra, that after that significant fast, after that prolonged fast, you couldn't even look at animals the same, you couldn't even look at meat the same. What was it in you that you felt like, I can't even look at it the same way? Was it because you felt so good or something else?
it was definitely a combination of feeling good, and then also when watching certain videos and things, it was really heavily like emphasized that meat is not alive. So if you want to be, full of life, why would you bring that into your body? Because then you become a cemetery, and I didn't want to be a cemetery anymore. So that definitely was the biggest, I think, contributor to my thought process on not even seeing it the same way. And then also just the fact that we, honestly, for me, and I feel like for anybody, you like the seasonings on the meat rather than the actual meat itself. So once we started incorporating like fried oyster mushrooms, we started incorporating squash. It was night and day. Like it was just as good, if not better, to me. So
it was definitely better.
Yeah. So yeah, I started going around telling people, "Oh my gosh, this mushroom tastes like chicken!" Like it was like people were like, "Okay, Sierra," and then I would be like, "Wait," and I'll bring it, and they'll be like, "Wait a minute, you got a point." But yeah, so I definitely, that was definitely the game changer.
Wow. So you weren't just telling it, you were selling it. You were selling it. You were like, let me put you on game. Let me put you on something.
Right. And she wanted me to cook more for her friends. I was like, no. Like she used to bring home her lunchbox upset and say, "Mom, you need to make me more food." And I'm like, why? Because my friends are eating all my food. I'm like, Sierra, tell them no.
I don't like to gate. I'm a very generous person, but I realize that there's some things that you gotta those boundaries, So
Yeah. I love that you established that. You're a giver. It really shows that you give. You just give in abundance. You don't have an abundance, and just to also be thriving and not just surviving, and be so high vibing around your tribe. Around your clique or around your group of friends. Socially, was it very challenging when you say, you had people over here eating macaroni and cheese and people over here eating hot dogs, people eating pizza, people eating whatever they're eating, and you were over here with the chickpeas and the hummus, and was that ever socially challenging for you, or did you just kind of take it in stride?
I probably at the beginning, because I mean, honestly, looking back, I've always liked what we've created, but I definitely think the beginning probably was a little bit difficult because I would say meat I couldn't look at the same, but other dairy products like sweets and macaroni, those were a little bit more difficult to break away from. Hence why I went vegetarian first until I went to Alkaline. But yeah, I think after a while it became a lot easier to just smell the food, the seasonings on the food, and be like, oh, that smells really good. But I'm gonna keep my salad and my chickpea hummus over here. So yeah, I've learned to really enjoy it. So
Awesome. And one more question I have for you, Sierra. I've heard that, pray tell if this is true, correct me if I'm wrong, but you haven't actually had any solid food since last Sunday. Is that correct?
well, I actually did a juice fast for since Sunday to yesterday. Actually, yesterday was my first day eating cucumber and avocado, just so I can wean myself off of the fast.
Okay.
Just right now, I'm just trying to incorporate easily digestible foods. But yeah, I didn't eat anything since Sunday.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was at least like 5 or 6 days, like five days in a row, no solid food. When the majority of people believe if you go for that long, it's over, it's game over. So like, how are you feeling right now?
I feel good. I feel energized. I was every time I do certain detoxes and fasts, like which is why I continue doing them, I just feel like recharged afterwards. And during it as well, it's like it's showing myself how disciplined I can be because, when you think of someone who hasn't ate in 5 days, you're thinking, oh my gosh, they must be hungry. I mean, honestly, I wasn't really thinking of food throughout the fast, really. I mean, because I had my, the juice I would make, or I would drink coconut water to satisfy me. And then, now you have more time in the day to do other stuff. Like you're not just thinking about food, you're not cooking the food, you're putting energy into more passions all other passions that you have. So that's, I enjoy my detoxes and fasts. I've been loving it ever since I started doing it more. So, yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you just for being a testament and just an embodiment of what's possible, showing people that they have options, they have alternatives, and that, you know, if you don't eat, that doesn't mean that you perish, that you wither away and just, you know, that you just kind of all of a sudden you just start withering away and you just you're on to the hereafter. Like so many people are afraid to even go one day, not even one day, even 12 hours, even half a day without food. People are like sweating bullets. They're afraid to go half a day. You went 5 days in a row. You know, that's saying something. That's a big achievement for sure. Yeah. So my goodness, you know, I love this family. Like this family dynamic that you've cultivated here, this wholeness, this completeness. I just love, you know, if we could end on a loving note, if we could go around the room and you could, you know, just say one thing that you're proud of each other for, like just one thing that you would say, you know, I'm proud of you for this. What would you say if you could go around the room?
I guess I'll start that.
Okay.
Why am I proud of? Um, I'll say I'll start with myself because all is self, and I do feel like that they all are a part of me, like in so many different ways, like um, whether it be my strength, my lessons. Poor baby, he was the first. He wasn't exactly. I knew how to be a mom, but I always knew I wanted to be a mom. So he taught me more than I taught him. Um, we used to play a little game when he was like 2 years old, and I would try to put the key in the door to open it, and he would move it, and we would just go back and forth and play. And so one day I had a really bad day,
Mhm.
and I said, "Move." So he just moved, you know. But the next day it became a new game, and so I got ready to put the key in the door, and he goes, "Move," and he hits my hand, and I was like, "PJ, you you don't hit mommy, and you don't say move that aggressively to mommy."
Mhm.
And I apologized yesterday because mommy should not have done that to you either. So with that being said, if you're willing to learn from even the very things that you think you were here for, I thought I was to become a mom so that I could show my children everything. But what I learned is when they came through my portal, they literally were coming with new information and there if you allow them to teach you a lot as well. So that's why when they got older as adults, I would always tell Sierra, I'm not one of your little friends because I want her to be my friend when she gets older. So I'm going to make sure I discipline her and you're going to do what I told you to do. And so I'm proud of her for being my little friend. You know, I'm proud of both of them in the sense of, you know, the adults that they've become and mature enough to actually teach me lessons from the age of birth to this day, to this present moment. They're able to teach me and, you know, become more like a sister and brother other than just I'm their mom.
Right.
And of course, for my husband, I'm grateful that, you know, he saw the smile on the steps and saw something within me and continues to bring out, you know, the best in me or, you know, what we've created here and still creating, still expanding into because there's things that, of course, when you're 16 and 17 that you don't know. And that's why I was telling him to shh when it came to the age, because I'm like, Prince, don't nobody need to know how old I am. Like, it's like, I'm still, you know, like PJ said, we 22, 21, you know. So it's one of those things where it's like expanding and yes, we want them to have, you know, love and those things. Like we always share with them, your first marriage is to yourself. Your masculine energy and your feminine energy. Your feminine energy nurtures your own masculine energy. Your masculine energy provides and covers for your feminine energy. And once you get that right, then you will expand that energy and you'll get that mate. And so when that's everything else is extra. So when they come, now you're able to, you know, hopefully have that new expansion And it's like, it may not look like it did, you know, just like my mother and father. It doesn't look like what Pete and I have. So what they're going to have is going to look a little different. So we have to adjust even as parents. That's why I said it has to be like a sister and brother thing. I want him to know, you need to take care of, you know, her. You got to be able to provide. And he shares that with me. I'm like, wow, you know, and you know, so this, now I'm getting into my beliefs, but at the same time, I have to recognize, you know, what I want for them may not be what they need. So that's why I have to step back, and he calls me on it all the time. Hey, that's none of your business. so I would say I'm proud of each one of them for totally different reasons, but collectively, I feel very expansive.
Yeah.
In myself, you know, like that little torsion field, as above, so below. Everything I feel within me and loving myself, I definitely can feel with the surrounding of each one of them.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I love it. I love it. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
Okay.
Well, as you know, the theme is definitely self-love. So you do start with self. I've always had a thought process, though, kind of coinciding with that I wanted my family to be in the best position they could be in. I've always considered myself, even though I've grown into, you know, self-assurance first, I've always considered myself secondary when it comes to making sure my family has what they need. I really took on that provider role, really steadfast in how I understood it as a young man. And then as I've grown into more mature of a person, I understand that there's more to it than just, you know, making sure they have clothes on their back and food and shelter. There's more, especially says the word expansion, that I have to go through, and that I'm going through, and understanding how a family unit, you know, should really, how masculine energy should really be there for the family. But I would say, you know, for my son, just being that first child that I was able to pour myself into, that I was able to see a whole new revelation of masculinity. I mean, I really see a lot of just real mature masculine energy in my son come out so many different ways as a child, and even now to this day. And I'm really, you know, that's really something I'm proud of with him, is that he's become kind of that, you know, flip of, you know, kind of my hero in the sense of living vicariously through, you know, your children. You know, I just give you a little small story. I don't want to expand it too much, but when she told me what she was having, you know, because I didn't know, I was in class when she went to the doctor to see what she was having, and she got the ultrasound and came and met me at the end of my class and showed me the ultrasound. She didn't tell me; she just showed me the ultrasound, and of course, on it tells, you know, it shows what gender you're having. And I mean, I saw what it was, and I went running down the hallway screaming.
The same hall PJ ran around when he got his ass.
Yeah. I mean, because he ended up going to the same college that I graduated from. So. But I was like telling everybody, and they're just looking at me like, people who I didn't even know looking at me like, oh, congratulations, you know. But the reason I say that is just because I saw that once I knew what we were having, I just saw instantly the masculine young man that I would be able to grow into and be like a friend once he's an adult, would be my buddy, you know. And he's actually become that. He's become more of he's still my son, but more of a friend, you know, a brother.
Nice.
You know, not speak about my daughter. I mean, I remember having a conversation with my wife about, okay, we have a son. You know, now initially we wanted 4, and then we had PJ, and then we like, oh, three will be good. You know, let's just have 3. And then another year with PJ, we were like, you know what, 2, because then we had this beautiful young lady here, and we were like, okay, 2 is wonderful. 2 is wonderful because there's nothing else. There's a boy and a girl. There's nothing else you can have. But when when she came into my life, I then became this. Oh my God! I've never, other than wanting to do for my wife, I've never had another thing that really moved my spirit and my mind so quickly. Like, I mean, if she wanted something, I was, oh, okay, yes. Yeah. I mean, like, if she was hurt, I'd run, oh, what's going on? I just, it was so, she was so delicate to me, the young feminine energy. So that my daughter, for her, I'm really proud of how she has grown into a feminine energy that not only is a mother-like symbol to me in essence, it's in an energy way, but she loves on everything. I mean, there isn't she gets on me if I say something in the wrong tone to someone we don't even know. And I didn't even know I was saying in the wrong tone, but she is so protective of people's, energy. She wants people to be happy. She's such a giving person. She'll give her last to people and have no clue what she has left, but she wants to make sure that everyone else is good. And I love that about her. That's one thing that she has really taught me is to be like, you know what? All this material thing that I'm thinking about is not really what's important. What's important is how am I giving of myself in an energetic and spiritual way to enhance and expand others who are in my circle. Right. So that's I really admire that about my daughter to this day. Well said. Okay, and then I mean the bag is full when it comes to my wife. She has put up with a lot of my maturing. I mean, I remember we met at 16 and 17, so there's a lot of maturing that has to be done before you become an adult. Yeah. And doing that together with someone she has to mature as well. So we're both growing and expanding together. But having the heart, this young lady here, I call her young lady, when I met her, she had and I see where my daughter gets it from. She has such a giving heart. She's always wanting what's best for everyone else. And then she would come along and, well, I'll figure it out for myself later, but let me make sure everyone else is good. And I noticed it about her from day one. That's what she made me feel like I was the most, biggest thing in the world, and it's because she always wanted others around her to be at their best. And then when we became parents, I'll always tell her, there's no other person in the world that I would want to be the mother of my children than her because of how she has devoted her mind, body, and spirit to the growth and development of our family. I mean, there is I haven't seen anyone that outside of her that can do that in a way that she does it. I guess everyone is authentic, but her authentic self is off the charts to me. So I would say that is the biggest thing she's brought to our family is that wholeness, as she always puts. She connects the spiritual, the mental, and the physical together, and just allows our family to grow in that wholeness. So that would be what I would say about my family. As you can see, I love and adore my family. So
love it. We feel the love. We feel it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. PJ, Sierra.
I don't know how I'm supposed to follow.
I ain't gonna get that. Mine's not gonna be that long. I love them as much as they love me.
Have a few words.
Mine's gonna be a few sentences for everybody.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll start with. I guess PJ. I really appreciate him being a role model in my life. Just being the first, like they said, I was able to see how he maneuvered through life, and seeing his accomplishments and his lessons that he shares with me. Allows me to use those as I grow into, now I'm in adulthood, but as I grew into adulthood, and just being such a great role model and inspiration to me, it's just been amazing. And then just also, being the only sibling I have, it's just a nice, bond that we share that we'll always share, and that
except for Jazz.
Oh yeah, we have another very close family sibling friend. But so that's definitely the biggest thing for me and my brother, my parents, and I'll go back and forth. But my dad, he's just shown me what masculine energy is supposed to be like for a family. And so as I, continue going through life and, looking for whoever that person's going to be in my life eventually, it's nice to have a blueprint and nice to also, just have advice, somebody who can give me advice when going through certain things, and just throughout life, just being able to be that person to be that strong, providing person to, talk to about that anything, just like finances, just anything. Same thing. And then my mom, she's just very, like my dad said, very authentic. So I feel like we have such a, like I said, I'm in my mind a lot, and she is able sometimes to tell, elaborate things that I'm having trouble eloquently saying. And it's I don't know, we just have a very tight bond, and it's hard to explain. That's why it's so, I'm trying to say it, but it's really more of an energetic level thing. I couldn't ask for a greater, better mom. But yeah, so she's really taught me just. I know my dad talked about how I give and give. So she's taught me really how to pour that back into myself, so I can be a better person, a better daughter, a better friend, a better, so that's definitely been the biggest thing for me. So, yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Wow. I feel it. I feel it. Just pouring into your cup, you got to fill it back up. I love that she gave that to you, that self-love and self-care is not selfish, Yeah.
So I guess I'll finish off. I'll start with my dad. I think the biggest thing that I admire with my dad is, one is the consistency of, I know what I'm gonna get out of my dad. There hasn't been any kind of roller coaster when it comes to, support, when it comes to emotion, when it comes to finances. Everything is gonna be, I know what I'm gonna get. I know how it is with my dad. So it's like, just having that consistency in your life. Everything may be going, up or down in your life, but you know that you can always come back to Pops, and he's exactly how he's gonna be. He's,
Right.
when it comes to, I think the main thing is support. And then growing up, knowing that not everybody can have their father be their coach from 2 years old to 16 years old. So him just being there and being my coach, my mom too being my coach, that was a big thing for me, because when your mom and your dad's the coach, they're going to instill a lot of energy, a lot of, you're going to have an advantage. Let's just say that you're going to have an advantage growing up. So I really appreciate that. And I think that instilled a lot of self-confidence in me. And, I did well in sports. And I think that was a big reason for that, was because of the consistency, him being there day in and day out of my practices, coming out of his 45-hour-a-week job. So it's like, as a kid, you see that as, my dad's my coach. But now as an adult, you see that he took, 20 hours or 18 hours out of his day to be with me. You know what I mean? So that's a huge thing to me. My mom, I think the biggest thing with her, like he said, the bag is full when it comes to my mom. But one thing that sticks to me is the sacrifice and the nurturing that she instills in me. I think that, like Sierra said, when it comes to finding someone you want to spend the rest of your life with, a nurturing quality is something that it has to be there, because I've seen it growing up for almost 30 years. Right. So that nurturing quality is something that I've seen amplified in her, but I've seen it in the world as well. But I think I think consistency is another thing when it comes to her. Is she's consistently nurturing towards me, towards my sister, towards anybody we come in contact with, little cousins, so that's the main thing: consistency, support, and nurturing. And then when it comes to my sister, I think a big thing is her being more of like a grounder for me, because I think I have a lot going on in my life, a lot of things when it comes to business, when it comes to social events, when it comes to lessons learned, when it comes to a lot of different things. But I know I could talk to my sister, she'll have a whole different perspective on something I'm going through or something that's happened, And it may just be, simple to her, but in my head, I'm like, okay, man, okay, I guess I see. So I think just having that perspective of we're not necessarily twins, but it seems like that in certain instances because we're on the same page most of the time, but sometimes it's like, have you thought about it this way? And I can always get it from her because she's had like she said, she's had a life of her own as well. So she's gained experiences that I haven't gained experiences, and we'll be able to bounce off of each other and be able to come to a solution on anything that's going on. So I think her just being that grounder for me, because you said I stay in the 33rd floor, so a lot of my life is out there area. It's I'm out in the open when it comes to my business and things like that. But I can always come back and just have a chill moment with little sis when it comes to being that grounder. So I think that's the three. One of the biggest things is we got the support, the consistency, the stability. You got the nurturing, and then you also have the grounding. So I think that encompasses all the elements, because we are all the elements too. So I think that's the biggest thing. So.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow. Thank you, each of you, just for illustrating this, just for, once again, just being an embodiment of just how a nurturing family looks, like how a whole family looks, how a unit, just the collaboration and just the feeling of togetherness and understanding that you may have your differences at times, but you can go through it, you can grow through it, and you can work through anything together, and you're stronger together than you are apart. It's like, I think I seen a scene in a movie one time. It might have been I think it was the Planet of the Apes. There was a character named Caesar, and he took a bundle of, did you see this scene? Where he took like a bundle of twigs or like a bundle of sticks, like he took one stick and he said, apes alone, weak, he just broke it. But he took a bundle and he said, together strong, like he can't break it. You can't break it, There's no way you can shake it. There's no way you can break it when you're together. So thank you just for each of your vulnerability, your honesty, and your integrity. It really speaks volumes of how you've cultivated yourselves as a unit together. And thank you, just for showing us all how it looks. And I just really appreciate everybody coming together to have this conversation. I've been wanting to have this conversation with you for quite some time, and I'm so glad that we got to do it today. And thank you so much, and be blessed, be well. If you have anything that you'd like to let people know, if you have anything or your businesses, your services, if there's anybody that wants to plug in a website or plug in any places that people can go to learn more about you or to receive any offerings or services, you could definitely plug that in right now if you'd like people to go to it.
Well, yeah, I guess I'll start. So I'm Peter J on Instagram, PETR.JAYYY. I have a business where I teach people, I don't want to say financial literacy, but I open people's eyes to the world when it comes to digital currency. So we're moving into an age where, a lot of things are going to be on the digital blockchain, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a big opportunity right now for people who don't have billions of dollars to actually invest and get the same kind of rewards that these billionaires and the wealthy elites are getting. Mm-hmm. So I like to teach people. It started off as my peers, but now I have hundreds of members now when it comes to it. But yeah, I give a beginner's course on digital assets, cryptocurrency, tokenized metals, and this could all be found on my on my Instagram. And my business Instagram is actually pj.enterprise. So pj.enterprise with the underscore.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Go ahead.
Oh, no.
Well, I have just a page, CC Murray, CICIMARYE. And so I, share my, just anything that I don't really have a niche per se, but I would say like music is probably the biggest thing. Just sharing that type of stuff on there and just having fun, spreading good vibes. So if you want to laugh or dance or anything, just head on to my page.
Yeah. I saw it said you're a creator, you're an artist, and you're an alchemist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love transmuting energy into the most beneficial for me, for the collective. So
beautiful.
Playlist. So ours business is the homeschool approach to holistic health, which they actually assist in as well. But we have like YouTube channel, TikTok. You'll see us all together. Instagram. I just play with it. I'm not the best at the social media game. I'm working on it, but but I do have the things out there. The business is called Homeschool Approach to Holistic Health. And we have, it's called the Authentic Soul Food Kitchen Digital Recipe Guide, which is the foods that Sierra was talking about, where we basically take Dr. Sebi's approved list and his nutritional guide and created our own. So we do like online classes. I've done them with PJ before in his Millionaire Project. And then on CC Murray, she has a Amazon that has all of our different wellness tabs on there, from massage chairs, every modality, from grounding mats, grounding shoes, what are the saunas, the steam sauna, there's all kind of modalities on there under her name. So as a family, we just kind of help each other out wherever we can, and
Your handle on Instagram is at
Coach Scott, yeah, Coach Scott and
Coach
for Scott. See, that's the thing. We don't even know what our handle is. So,
They take care of all this kind of stuff.
well, we want them to. But we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. But as a family, this is just kind of like our little blueprint. What we just figured it out as we go. We all have our strengths. She's really good at social media. He's really good at teaching, and then we're really good at trying to keep it all together so we can all do it on one little platform. But we're all kind of individually going out on our own too. So.
All right. All right. Beautiful. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much. And enjoy the rest of your beautiful day. Enjoy the rest of this time together.
Great talking, Jerome.
All right.
Wholeness.
Wholeness. See you next time.
Okay.